History remembers her as the woman who refused to bow, a freedom fighter, a revolutionary, a symbol of resistance. But after the world's most famous political marriage came to an end, another chapter quietly began. A chapter few people outside South Africa know. A relationship that fascinated newspapers, divided public opinion, and raised one question that has never truly been answered. Who was the man standing beside Winnie Mandela after Nelson Mandela? And why did their story end almost as quietly as it began? To understand this story, we first have to understand Winnie Mandela. By the early 1990s, she wasn't simply Nelson Mandela's wife. She had become a political force in her own right. For nearly 3 decades, while Nelson Mandela remained imprisoned on Robben Island, Winnie faced police raids, house arrests, interrogations, banishment, and constant surveillance. To millions of Black South Africans, she became the face of resistance, the woman who refused to surrender. But history rarely leaves heroes untouched. As apartheid crumbled, questions about some of Winnie's associates and allegations surrounding the Mandela United Football Club created enormous controversy. Some supporters believed she had been unfairly targeted. Others believed she had crossed moral lines during the struggle. Those debates continue even today. What is certain is that Winnie Mandela remained one of the most influential and polarizing figures in South African politics. Then, in 1996, something happened that shocked the world. The marriage between Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela officially ended. For many observers, it seemed like the end of an era, but no one realized another chapter was only beginning. At the same time, a younger man was quietly building his reputation. His name was Dali Mpofu. Unlike Winnie, Mpofu wasn't known for decades of revolutionary symbolism. He was known for something else: his mind. Trained as an advocate, Mpofu developed a reputation as an intelligent, fearless, and often outspoken lawyer. He argued difficult cases. He wasn't afraid of controversy. And as South Africa entered its democratic era, his public profile steadily grew. He also became involved in politics, serving within the African National Congress before later aligning himself with other political movements. People respected his courtroom skills. Others criticized his political positions. But almost everyone agreed on one thing: Dali Mpofu knew how to command attention. Still, no one imagined his name would soon become linked with one of South Africa's most recognizable women. And when it happened, the headlines exploded. By the late 1990s, reports began appearing in South African newspapers. Winnie Mandela was reportedly in a relationship with Dali Mpofu. The news surprised many, not because either person was unknown, but because together they represented 2 different generations. Winnie had become a liberation icon. Mpofu represented the new South Africa emerging after apartheid. Their age difference only fueled the discussion further. Almost immediately, talk shows, newspapers, political commentators, and ordinary South Africans began debating the relationship. Some admired them, others criticized them. Many simply couldn't stop talking. Yet despite the media frenzy, the couple themselves revealed remarkably little. There were no social media posts, no public declarations, no interviews explaining every detail. Instead, silence. And where information is limited, speculation often rushes in. This is where our story requires caution, because over the years, many claims appeared in newspapers. Some were verified, others never were. Here are the facts. Winnie Mandela and Dali Mpofu were widely reported to have been in a romantic relationship after Winnie's divorce. They attended public events together. Their relationship attracted enormous media attention. They never married. Now the rumors. Some newspapers claimed wedding plans were underway. Others suggested political disagreements had strained the relationship. Still others published stories about personal conflicts behind closed doors. But neither Winnie Mandela nor Dali Mpofu publicly confirmed most of these claims. Without confirmation, those stories remain speculation. Because history deserves facts, not fiction. Still, one mystery remained. How did such a high-profile relationship quietly fade away? The answer is more complicated than many headlines suggested. By the late 1990s, South Africa was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. Apartheid had officially ended. Nelson Mandela had become the country's first Black president. The world celebrated what many called a miracle. But behind the scenes, the country's political elite remained under constant public scrutiny. Every appearance, every friendship, every relationship could become tomorrow's headline. And that is exactly what happened to Winnie Mandela and Dali Mpofu. Almost overnight, their private relationship became public discussion. Some newspapers portrayed it as a fresh start for Winnie. Others focused almost entirely on the age difference. Political commentators debated whether the relationship would influence either person's career. But despite all the speculation, the couple rarely responded. There were no televised interviews, no detailed memoirs, no public attempt to silence every rumor. Instead, they continued living largely on their own terms. Ironically, that silence only fueled more curiosity, because people often fear what they cannot explain, and the less information available, the more imagination fills the gaps. Over the years, several stories began circulating. Some newspapers claimed the couple was planning to marry. Others reported disagreements behind closed doors. There were even stories suggesting political tensions had affected the relationship. But here's where we need to separate history from hearsay. There is no publicly verified evidence confirming why Winnie Mandela and Dali Mpofu eventually separated. Neither of them ever gave a detailed public explanation. That means any claim that says this is exactly why they broke up should be treated with caution unless supported by credible evidence. Sometimes the truth is simply that we don't know. And in an age where every mystery demands an answer, "I don't know" is often the most honest answer history can offer. Although their relationship ended, their individual journeys continued. Winnie Mandela remained one of the most influential and controversial figures in South African politics. To many South Africans, she was the mother of the nation, a woman who sacrificed decades of her life fighting apartheid. To others, her legacy was complicated by controversies that followed her throughout the later years of her life. History continues to debate both sides, and perhaps it always will. Meanwhile, Dali Mpofu continued building his reputation as one of South Africa's most recognizable advocates. Over the years, he represented politicians, business leaders, public figures, and controversial clients. His courtroom style became known for its confidence, sharp questioning, and commanding presence. Whether admired or criticized, he remained impossible to ignore. Though their lives had once intersected, history would remember them for very different reasons. On April 2, 2018, Winnie Mandela passed away at the age of 81. Her death prompted tributes from across South Africa and around the world. Supporters remembered her courage during apartheid. Critics revisited the controversies surrounding her life. But almost everyone agreed on one thing. No story about South Africa's struggle for freedom could ever be complete without Winnie Mandela. Her life refused to fit neatly into simple categories. She was celebrated. She was criticized. She was admired. She was challenged. Above all, she was unforgettable. When people hear the name Winnie Mandela, most immediately think of Nelson Mandela. Few remember that after one of history's most famous marriages ended, she continued living, leading, fighting, and yes, loving. Her relationship with Dali Mpofu wasn't simply celebrity gossip. It was a reminder that even iconic historical figures continue to live complex human lives beyond the headlines. Yet the relationship itself never defined either of them. What defined them were the causes they fought for, the institutions they challenged, and the debates they left behind. Sometimes history asks us to choose heroes or villains. Real life is rarely that simple. The stories that endure are often those that resist easy answers. And perhaps that is exactly why this story still fascinates people today. Not because every question has been answered, but because some questions never were. History remembers revolutions. It remembers presidents. It remembers famous speeches. But sometimes the quieter chapters reveal something just as important. They remind us that behind every public figure is a private life, one that history may never fully know. The relationship between Winnie Mandela and Dali Mpofu remains one of those chapters, documented in headlines, surrounded by speculation, yet ultimately understood only by the two people who lived it. And perhaps some stories are meant to leave us with questions instead of answers. If you enjoyed this documentary and appreciate fact-based storytelling that separates history from rumor, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And tell us in the comments. Do you think history has judged Winnie Mandela fairly, or is her legacy more complicated than most people realize? Until next time, thank you for watching.